Okay, let's be real for a second. We've all been there. You're scrolling through TikTok or Instagram watching these couples who seem to have been manufactured in a factory. They match outfits, they finish each other's sentences, their apartments look like Pinterest boards. And you sit there in your sweatpants, eating day-old pizza, thinking, why is my love life a dumpster fire? You start to think maybe you're the problem, maybe your standards are too high, maybe you're too difficult. That was me. 6 months ago, I was ready to delete every dating app and just adopt 5 cats. I was done. Then, the universe laughed at me because I didn't just meet a guy. I met the guy. His name was Caleb, and honestly, the way we met was so cinematic it felt scripted. I was in a dusty old bookstore in the city, trying to reach a copy of The Silent Patient on the top shelf. I'm 5'4", so I was struggling. Suddenly, this hand reaches over my shoulder, grabs the book, and hands it to me. I turned around, ready to say a polite thanks, and I literally lost my breath. He was tall, wearing this vintage leather jacket that smelled like coffee and rain. He didn't use a cheesy pickup line. He just smiled, this slow, crooked smile that made my knees weak, and pointed at the book.
Be careful with that one. Chapter 4 is going to make you question your entire reality. I wish I could read it again for the first time.
We ended up sitting on the floor of that aisle for 2 hours, just talking. We talked about everything. Our childhood fears, why pineapple doesn't belong on pizza, the simulation theory. Ironically enough, he was an architect. He designed sustainable homes. He volunteered at a dog shelter on weekends. He called his mom every Sunday. He was checking boxes I didn't even know I had. By the time we exchanged numbers, I was already planning our wedding in my head. I know, crazy girl. But you have to understand, I've never felt so seen. It was like he had downloaded my brain and knew exactly what I needed. The first 3 months were a blur of perfection. He sent peonies to my office every Tuesday because I mentioned once that they were my favorite. He surprised me with tickets to a niche indie band I loved. My friends were jealous. My mom, who hates everyone, actually invited him for Thanksgiving. He was seamless. But that's the problem with seamless, isn't it? Real life has seams. Real relationships have awkward silences and bad breath and stupid fights about doing the dishes. We didn't have that. We were efficient. Too efficient. The first red flag was so small I almost missed it. We were at a dinner party with some of his friends. I use air quotes because looking back the whole night felt weird. Everyone was beautiful. Everyone was successful. But the conversations felt recycled, like they were reading from a teleprompter. I made a sarcastic, dry joke about my boss and everyone laughed at the exact same time. Same volume, same duration. It was like a laugh track in a sitcom. I looked at Caleb, expecting him to roll his eyes with me, but he was just staring at me, analyzing me.
You're tired, Sarah. Maybe we should get you home. You get cynical when your serotonin levels drop.
Serotonin levels? Who talks like that? But he kissed my forehead and the feeling passed. Then came the health kick. About month 4, Caleb started getting really concerned about my well-being. He said I looked pale. He said I was forgetting things. He started giving me these daily vitamins. Custom blend, he called them. Just to help with your focus, babe. Like an idiot, I took them. And that's when the fog started. I'd lose chunks of time. I'd wake up in the kitchen, standing in front of the open fridge, having no idea how I got there. I'd find my keys in the freezer. I'd find emails in my sent folder that I didn't remember writing, angry emails to my friends, canceling plans, isolating me. When I panicked, Caleb was always there, the calm in the storm.
It's okay, you're just stressed. The world is too loud for you right now. Just listen to my voice, focus on me. I'm the only thing that's real.
I became dependent on him totally and completely. I quit my job because he said it was damaging my cognitive function. I stopped seeing my friends because I was embarrassed about my memory. Episodes. I was exactly where he wanted me. Isolated. Vulnerable. Alone. The breaking point was last Tuesday. Caleb was supposed to be in Chicago for a client meeting. I was home alone, pacing around the apartment, feeling that weird chemical anxiety I'd had for weeks. I ran out of his special vitamins, and for the first time in months, my brain felt clear. Sharp. I went into his office to look for a charger. His laptop was sitting on the mahogany desk. It was humming. Usually, Caleb is a fortress of cybersecurity. Fingerprint ID, Face ID, 20-character passwords. But today, the screen was black, but the power light was blinking. I tapped the spacebar, the screen lit up. No password prompt. It just unlocked. But it wasn't a normal desktop. There were no apps, no Chrome, no Spotify, no recycle bin. Just a black background and a single File Explorer window open in the center. The window title was CI Projects Active. I leaned in. My heart was hammering against my ribs. There was a list of folders. Project. Emily terminated. Project. Jessica archived. Project. Rachel failed. And at the bottom. Project. Sarah. I clicked it. I knew I shouldn't, but I couldn't stop. It was like watching a car crash. Inside, it wasn't just photos. It was code. It was biology. There was a spreadsheet titled Hormonal Manipulation Log. Day 120. Increased cortisol dosage. Subject displays desired anxiety levels. Day 145. Administered hallucinogen. Subject believes she is losing memory. The vitamins, he was drudging me. He was literally engineering my breakdown. I felt sick. I scrolled down and found a folder called Scripting Conflict. I opened a Word doc titled Argument_04_dishes. It was a transcript. A transcript of a fight we had 2 weeks ago. But the date on the file created? It was from last year. He had scripted our fight before he even met me. Caleb, you never appreciate what I do for you. Target response probability. 98% she will cry. 2% she will throw a plate. Action. If she cries, initiate comfort protocol B. I was reading a manual for my own life. I wasn't a girlfriend. I was a lab rat. I was an NPC in some sick, twisted game. I frantically clicked on a subfolder named Endgame. There was one file, termination_protocol.pdf. I opened it. Subject Sarah has reached peak emotional dependency. Data harvest complete. Phase 5, extraction. Staging accidental death via carbon monoxide leak. Scheduled date. Tonight. Tonight. I froze. The silence in the apartment suddenly felt heavy, oppressive. I needed to leave now. I reached for my phone, but the screen was dead. Brick. I grabbed the landline dead tone. Then, the sound of the front door, unlocking. Beep, beep, whir. He wasn't in Chicago. He was never in Chicago. I couldn't make it to the door. I did the only thing I could think of. I dove under the heavy oak desk in the office. I pulled my knees to my chest, shaking so hard I thought my teeth would shatter. I saw his shoes enter the room, pristine white sneakers. Not a speck of dirt. He didn't walk like a person. He walked rhythmically. Step, pause, step, pause. He stopped right in front of the desk. He didn't search the room. He didn't call my name. He just spoke. To the empty room.
Heart rate elevated to 180 beats per minute. Cortisol spike detected. She is in the room.
He could hear my heart? How? He slowly crouched down. I saw his face appear under the desk, but he didn't look angry. He didn't look like a killer. He looked bored. Like an IT guy looking at a broken printer. Caleb, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. Please. I saw the files. Why are you doing this? He tilted his head. A jerky, mechanical motion.
Doing? I am not doing anything, Sarah. I am executing a function. You were a data mining project. We needed to understand human heartbreak to improve the consumer algorithm.
We? Who is we? I scrambled back, hitting the wall. His phone buzzed. He tapped his ear.
Agent 49 is the subject neutralized.
Subject has accessed the back end. The narrative is compromised. Requesting permission to reboot.
Permission granted. Wipe the memory core. Start version 7.
No! I screamed. I tried to kick him, to run, to fight. But my legs, they wouldn't move. It wasn't fear, it was paralysis. Caleb reached out, not for my neck, but for the wall behind me. I turned my head. There was a power outlet there, but there was a thick, gray cable plugged into it. I followed the cable with my eyes. It trailed across the floor, under the desk, and up, into the heel of my boot. No, into my heel. I gasped, clawing at my leg. The skin there. It wasn't skin, it was silicone. It was tearing. Underneath there was no blood, just metal and wire.
Don't struggle, Caleb said, his voice overlapping with itself like an echo. It complicates the upload.
I'm real, I sobbed. I remember my childhood. I remember my first bike. I remember the taste of peonies.
Implanted memories, he said dismissively. Stock pack number 42. The sensitive artist backstory. It's a popular seller.
My vision started to crack. Literally crack like a broken phone screen. The room was dissolving into green binary code. Please, I begged. I love you.
He paused. His hand hovered over the plug on the wall. For a second, just a microsecond, his perfect face twitched. A spark. I know, he said, and he sounded sad. That is the defect in your model. You feel too much.
He yanked the cord from the wall. Blackness. Instant. Absolute silence. Excuse me? I blinked. The light was bright. I smelled old paper and coffee. I was standing in the bookstore. My hand was reaching for a book on the top shelf. The Silent Patient. A man bumped into me. Tall, leather jacket. Oh, sorry, he said. He smiled. That crooked, perfect smile. Great taste, he said. The twist at the end? It's gonna wreck you. My brain felt fuzzy, like waking up from a long nap. I looked at him. I felt butterflies. I'm Caleb, he said, extending a hand. I reached out to shake it. I'm Sarah, I said. But as our hands touched, a spark shocked me. Static electricity, and for 1 millisecond, a message flashed behind my eyelids. System restored, memory wiped, error code, love. I smiled at him. Nice to meet you, Caleb. But as I walked out of the store with him, I looked at my reflection in the window. My eyes weren't brown anymore. They were glowing a faint electric blue. And deep down in my code, a new file had just created itself. Folder name, Revenge. I gripped his hand tighter, so I asked, "Do you like peonies?" He smiled. I love them. Good, I thought. They look great at a funeral.